A. Venkatratnam Garu, management member, and Dr. K. Suresh, convener and principal of the college, uh, and his team members, college management, my faculty colleagues, Dr. Uday Bhaskar, Dr. Uma Maheshwari, and all my research scholars who are participating, my commerce and management colleagues and other faculty colleagues who have joined this very important in this COVID-19 challenging times. I appreciate all your commitment and participation to the academics and research. As we all know, academics or teachers are the important stakeholders or the change agents or role models in the society. We all know uh, as a teacher, we keep saying it is the noblest profession on this earth. Why? Because we know the importance. Annadanam lives for one day. Vastradhanam lives for few days or a few years. And uh, uh, Bhudan may be lasting for few years, but Vidyadhan is the only one which is inseparable and which will be with the persons to whom it has been given. It cannot be separated from the Vidyadhan. So we all should be proud of being an academician and teachers. And I always tell and myself to all my uh, faculty fraternity that we must be committed and dedicated. We have, as you know, we as a teacher, we have three different roles, not limiting to three important. One is the teaching or education. Second one is the research and consultancy, and the administration and guidance. So, as a complete teacher should have these three different roles: teaching and education, research and consultants, administration and guidance. When it comes to research, the title says it is recent trends in research methodology. I'm sure all my colleagues are well equipped and they are in touch with the recent trends in the research methodology to appreciate Dr. Uday Bhaskar and Dr. Uma Maheshwari. You will get a very emerging knowledge through them. And I just give a nitty gritty. What is it? Re-church. We are charging again and again. What is it called? For a socio-economically established problem are there. And as an academician, as a change agent, as a role model, we should continuously investigate into the problems and find the vivid solutions and pragmatic solution that will solve the socio-economic problems of the society. That is what the true research, it keeps says. It is our integral part of our duty. And fortunately or unfortunately, research in India in general or in commerce and management faculty is taking a big strides in this in the recent past, and I'm happy to share that we have enormous opportunities in the research to grow, and our teaching should be always supplemented with our research findings so that you can give the real value addition to the students who will in turn build this nation. So therefore, how we take regular classes, the research should be also a regular activity. If you have an idea and if you are prepared for that, there is no dearth of funding, there is no dearth of opportunities. Okay, so I always, as I say, research should always investigate into a particular socio-economic problem and generate the alternatives and come up with a solid solution to establish the particular problem. Now, coming to, now let's start with a global level. What are the research areas contemporarily emerging which can be taken up now in the commerce and management faculty and also allied like economics and statistics in collaboration, in academic collaboration, interdisciplinary research. There are three generically research themes at a global level, such as number one comes under the purview of unemployment, illiteracy, uh, the what is it called? Uh, uh, Dowry deaths. All social evils comes within the purview of what is it called the poverty reduction. You know, the World Bank vision is poverty-free world. So any problem that taken up to solve any socio-economic issue largely stems from the what is it called the poverty reduction. That is one a generic area which you can even emerging microfinance, inclusive growth, financial inclusion, sustainable development, everything or the sub themes or comes under the generic theme of what is it called the poverty management or poverty reduction. Number two comes what is it called the global warming or a climate change. Global warming or climate change, or the present novel COVID-19 coronavirus also as a part of what is this called environmental pollution or what is it called global warming and climate change. We keep saying one thing: nature has for everybody's need, but nature doesn't have everybody's greed. When we try for the greed, that is how the problem keep coming up. I tell you, we take up research for the sake of research and PhD degrees or whatnot, and why not? That is okay. Individual goals we have it, but the research which we do ultimately, the bottom line should solve one of the socio-economic problems. Let it be poverty reduction or a climate change. Within the climate change, I keep saying it. What is it called? The carbon financing, which is coming up, uh, an upcoming area. Uh, you know, we have a today. What is it called? Uh, uh, the unemployment or income generating activities to the people. This is already at a global level, UNEP, UNDP, Kyoto protocols to, COP21. All these things are working on that. What is it called? A simple, this thing. If you have a tree, a mango tree or any teak species, any tree that will have a canopy at your home, the tree will become your employer, because trees uh, uh, absorb what is it called the carbon dioxide that is emitted through the industries and individual consumption of various electronic and other energy related products. So as we keep sustainable development research, there are calculations with the canopy size. This is a research with carbon financing. You can take it up in association with some botany or such life sciences faculty, which you can measure. If you have a tree at your home, how much oxygen it generates and how much carbon offsets or sequesters. Accordingly, you get keep on royalty. You are going to get a royalty. That is an interesting and non-conventional and untried research area which can be taken. Climate change is a real reality. It is not a what is it called myth or whatever. You see, earlier the coconut oil to say what is research you can do that. Coconut oil used to be in December and January month. It used to be hardened from liquids because there used to be that much cold naturally. But these days we don't find it. So that is an hypothesis. Somebody can put it up and work it on and prove it as climate change is a reality like one. So we have seen the poverty reduction. Government has been doing a lot of welfare, but still, until Amartya Sen says that the inclusive growth, like financial services, education, health services are important. So we were not focusing on that. Now, in addition to education, health, and financial service, now water and also what is nature upkeep is also added. Younger faculty, colleagues, research should go continuously. And the third global area, which I said, three areas: poverty reduction, climate change or global warming. The third one is the extremism. Extremism, no country has a peaceful economy these days. Every country is affected and threatened by some extremists internally and also globally. So these are the three generic areas which you can, whatever research you take up, it should stem out of, it should revolve rather than taking up ratio analysis, employee turnover, of, excuse me, this kind of conventional for our project works or our PhD or even other. We have Indian Council for Social Science Research, which is ready to fund. Anonymous funds are available. Let's all apply for that and get up to the this thing. So and now, see, recent emerging one of the findings of this COVID-19. If you see in India specific case, 80% of the virus infected cases are from urban. So what does it mean? It indicates there's a density of population, and whereas in comparison with rural area, it's less affected or almost not affected. Why is it? Because the population density is less in rural area, and population crowded in the, what is it called, in urban and metro areas. And within the 80% also, 80% of 90% is again in metros and the cosmopolitan cities. Now somebody can say, and we have seen the migrant laborers walking from different places to this thing. This can be also hypothetically tested whether migration helps in long term for the socio-economic sustenance. To my mind and to my observation, it doesn't help. Rather, it doesn't even contribute to the sustainable development, because we have seen a Gujarati fellow, Guju, is coming to Andhra Pradesh, and Andhra fellow is going to Gujarat or Maharashtra and Delhi and vice versa. As a nature of law, the person whosoever takes birth in particular place, there he will have enough socio-economic sustenance. But what now we, from the need, we can fulfill locally. But we don't want that. Beyond that, we want short and with minimum efforts, we wanted to maximum, economic growth, whatever. In that case, we are migrating. As a result, what happened? Urban migration, the rural agriculture is left without labor, and the mechanization they have adopted. The mechanization again causing to the, what is it called, the unsustainable agriculture, agricultural practices. Earlier, the rice crops in our native West Godavari, there used to be, there will be cutting seasons, threshing, and the stacks, the dry grass used to be fed to the animals and all these things, especially the cattle. Now, due to migration of the labor from the rural area to urban, so mechanization is adopted. Mechanization is good to a limited extent, but not. We have seen how the trouble. So therefore, somebody can take up a research whether local migration or global migration are really contributing to the sustainable individual as well as the societal development. Frame an hypothesis, take up it, and come up with a suggestion, testing after empirically with a sample of different places. So my hypothesis, the migration to a limited is permissible, not very widely. Migration doesn't have any long-term economic and socio-economic benefit. So it should be an inaugural speech should be very short. And then I stop it here and I brief it and again. So let's all feel proud to be an academician, and we are the real role models to the society. My first vice chancellor N.K. Thakare Saab is a professor of mathematics in Pune University, retired. He used to say in any faculty development program or a user repressed program, three bottom lines, I say and I conclude it. If a nation's political system is corrupt, So there is a big harm to the nations, but still okay, fine. The bureaucratic system is corrupt, and there is a dangers to the nation's economy, but still okay. But academics are little bit not serious or not insincere, then there everything goes, in a bad shape. So because the academics makes the future of any nations. So our commitment, our sincere, our value addition in time, aptly, what is required. Today's what is the need of the society. Do the research accordingly and try to discuss the findings with this practical hands-on findings with your students, so that will be a real value addition as a meaningful teacher. A complete teacher has to do all three roles: teaching and education, research and consultancy, guiding and administration. This is what a complete research teacher or an academician. Within that, I once again congratulate and compliment the Bhimavaram Institute of Engineering and Technology for taking up apt and very important faculty development program in these challenging times. And I congratulate all the participants who have joined, and I thank the management and I thank my colleagues. And we will have a fruitful deliberations and lot of value addition. Take away lot of value addition, and after the value addition, again it should be give it back to the society, to your students. Find the solutions. Go to the farmers. Tell them tree and what is it called, the farm are inseparable. They should not be separate. Empirically educate them as an educator. Uh, as an educator. Hello, 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 hello. Sorry. As an educator, it is our onus. It is our responsibility to educate people in a right manner. To educate, we need to be competent. To become competent, we need to do the research. Research may be funded or a small research. Small is always beautiful. Even our MBA students can be taken up good projects and taken up, come up with research publications. Publication not for the sake of only promotion and UGC. Publication should give a pieces and bits of knowledge through our research. Thank you very much. All the best and good luck. Thank you, Bhimavaram Institute of Engineering and Technology. Thank you, Suresh Garu. And also thank you, Venkatratnam Garu. Thank you. Bye-bye. See you. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Really, you have given very valuable information that anything in the society might be corrupted, but it is the academicians have to be in a right way to uplift any society. Thank you very much, sir. You have rightly said, and I hope everyone will really take to their heart and implement in their research work. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Now, I will hand over the session to Dr. N. Uday Bhaskar, Professor from Department of MBA from Adikavi Nana University. Sir?
Is it audible, madam?
Yes, sir. Sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So just 1 minute, sir. And here is a small announcement for the participants. If you have any queries, please, I request to ask your queries at the end of the session. Why? Because we have muted the speakers for the smooth conduct of the program. So I request all the participants to cooperate with us to ask your queries at the end of the session. Thank you. Uday Bhaskar, sir, please, you can continue with the session, sir.
Good morning. Good morning to all. At the outset, I congratulate the Bhimavaram Institute of Engineering and Technology located at Bhimavaram, Andhra Pradesh, India. So for they actually thought of doing this wonderful workshop and materialized for the past 1 week. They struggled hard and the entire team. And I also welcome all the participants from different states of the country and who actually given their valuable time for this workshop. And I also thank the Venkatratnam Garu, management committee member of the BITE College, and Professor Suresh Garu, principal of this college, and other faculty members for conceiving this wonderful idea. And to start with the session, so I would like to mention what are the things that we are going to do. And maybe at the end of the session, there should be some learning footprint or some learning takeaway, as my professor STK told. So the session one is like aimed at sensitizing the young researchers, especially what is research and how to start and how to do a little review, etc. kind of thing. And today itself, we'll be discussing about the research process, maybe the fundamentals of the research activity. And tomorrow we'll be discussing about little advanced aspects like research design, sampling, and if time permits, scaling techniques and measurement aspects also. And maybe the day after tomorrow, and little introduction to the measurement, the questionnaire preparation, and also the factor analysis. That's how the schedule has been fixed. So this is actually meant for the young researchers, or who have the idea of doing research, or who are in the process or in the mid of the research and how to wind up. So for them, it is maybe more useful, and who are already completed their PhD and in research institutions. This may be considered as an add-on additional input for submitting research proposals and writing research papers. So in that aspect, I prepared a consolidated, synthesized presentation, so which fits for the vast divergent participants group, because I have seen the participants, some are from CSE and some are from engineering, some are from sciences, some are from commerce and management. So to target this divergent different vivid participants, so a generalized lecture is planned for the day one, and maybe day two little specialized, and day three maybe more specialized. So that may be the workshop plan. So first, I would like to focus upon, for any of the research activity to take care. So what we have to do is we have to start with the review of literature. So review of literature, people are very much ignored. Why review of literature and what is the purpose of doing it? And somehow most of the participants have their own doubts, or maybe they're too much of the guide dependent, like waiting for the instructions from the guide, and every time in the receiving end and all. So with my research experience, I prepared this PPT, and which makes us our as a research scholar, it empowers you. So how to start with this? So if you are very strong in this review of literature on this particular part, that itself guides you, and you will be less dependent on the guide, and you can able to you will have answers, all such research answers from a wonderful review. And the biggest problem of any of the research scholars who are not serious is they will take very light about their research, and they will be very thinking of very light about especially reading of the articles, like that. So first we will start about why we have to do the research. So this what we can able to focus is like it is to identify what everybody has done and to think what nobody else had thought of doing. So this one line, this particular quotation makes you give some full understanding about the review of literature. So what everybody has done and what nobody has thought of doing. So this is the first step of thinking about aspect. Suppose if you are doing the same research, and the applicability, or what we can call it as, or the credibility of your research is not good, and you cannot publish papers out of your research. We cannot say that that is fruitful. And we have the doubt which topic we have to select, or what area, research area we have to confine, and how to frame research objectives. So there are n number of questions will be there for the research scholars who are joined for the first, second, and 3 years. So they will be struggling very hard about preparing the proposal and all. So for all such questions, so this provides you an answer for this. And the simple understanding about where to start the research and how to complete the review of literature. I have three parts categorized. So how to begin, and how to progress, and how to close. So where to start and how to accelerate and where to close. So this is what the research methodology. And my discussion may be a little bit more of this commerce and management research. So once you are for some time, then we will take the example of science, engineering, and other disciplines, and I'll try to meet the expectations of this divergent group. So how to begin is like that. We'll focus upon why anyone is interested to do research. Somebody are very much interested for promotion, or maybe the mandate qualification for getting into the recruitment, maybe in a college or maybe in a university and all. So if that is the purpose, then it is called materialistic purpose. So the motivation from that research is very little. But as a researcher, when you focus upon the existing research, whatever the innovations or whatever the new things that are coming up, there is a huge backdrop of a strong research. So without research, there is no innovation. That everybody might be aware of that. So we cannot able to ignore that also. So why to do is something like need and significance of the research. So it may be focusing on inventing a drug or constructing a house. So let us say there is no medicine for the AIDS for the past 15, 20 years. And recently we are affecting with the COVID-19, and we don't know when this medicine will be identified. And research is going on all over the world to find the medicine for cancer, to find the medicine for AIDS, and to find the medicine for COVID. We don't know when it will end. So as it is important for the society, and as is very much important for the survival of the mankind, so that is the significance of the research. Suppose if you are doing a research in engineering, so you should ask yourself why you are doing and what would be the outcome of the research. So that has to be focused on the first part, need and significance. Ask yourself, so why you are engaged in research. And many topics are there to pursue. Let us say if it is marketing, there are different disciplines are there: finance, marketing, HR. So the very beginning question is like, which stream I have to do. So somebody may think that their specialization is in particular area, and according to the specialized area they will be doing. Suppose if my specialization is marketing, and I immediately think that, okay, I'll be doing research in marketing. Sometimes it may be correct, and sometimes it may not be. So you can do research in any area where the research interest is dominated. Suppose you have very high passionate about doing a particular aspect, then you can able to do. Like there is nothing wrong in doing research in economics, doing research in engineering and all. So, but to have that ignition or the starting point, so there should be a need for research. Suppose if it is already researched, then there is no purpose of doing it again and again. Let us say in marketing, customer satisfaction is there, so it is well researched area. So many thousands of researchers have published many articles in the area of customer satisfaction, and you are the one again doing the research in the same aspect. Then automatically it is like doing in a repeated manner. So research interest is like to know what has been done already and to assess what has to be done. So it is like you should discuss with the earlier researchers, or like by reading articles, and then you should also come one particular point, like what are the lessons from the past and what are the ideas for future. So suppose COVID-19, there is no medicine. Cancer, there is no medicine. And AIDS, there is no medicine. For other diseases, there were several medicines are there, and the survival rate of the mankind has been increased. So lessons from the past is like what you are known already, and ideas for future is what you have to contribute. So 1,000 experiments may fail, and that means if you know that you have to perform the 1,001 experiment. Suppose if you don't know about the 1,000 experiments which have been done by the earlier researchers, and you will be starting from the first experiment to the 1,000 experiment, and it will never come. So when we want to do the research, so it is mandate for us to review the earlier researchers and to what extent they have did. So how we can able to configure that is like we have a levels of understanding: global, national, regional, and local. So you have to categorize. So suppose if your research area is like service quality or maybe customer loyalty, so who are the top researcher or research activities regarding this service quality and customer loyalty all over the world, and is that the present research area or research interest of the marketing discipline that we have to focus upon. Global research maybe focus upon. Suppose if there are some researchers very much interested in customer loyalty in US, and in India it is not taken care of that, so you can able to take care of the customer loyalty program in India. And then coming to the national level, once you are understood the global research activity, then you can able to focus onto the national part, then you can focus upon to the regional part, and then you can able to focus on the local aspect. Let us say we are discussing about some importance of micro, small, medium enterprises, and how they are affected with the COVID-19. So this is an example. So all over the world, small and medium enterprises, how they are facing, and what kind of researches have been taking place in Italy and in Europe and in US. So whether any research interest has been triggered in that particular aspect. Suppose if some research has been started in particular country, then you can able to understand, okay, in India, so whether SME sector is affected, if so, how it is affected. So how are the other research have been conducted the research, and how you are going to conduct it. From global level, you have to drag down into the national level. And suppose if in India it is there, then you have 4 parts: southern, north, eastern, and western. So in southern area, how SMEs got affected, and in eastern area, how SMEs affected. Suppose if it is in the southern area, you can consider Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, and Kerala. So these are the states how they are affected. So from global level to national level, and from the regional level and to the local level. Suppose if you are living in the state of Andhra Pradesh, so how SME sector is affected in Andhra Pradesh, or how SME sector is affected in East Godavari or West Godavari. So you should have a comprehensive and consolidated idea of a particular topic. Let us say it may be SME sector, or it may be tourism sector, or it may be travel industry, or it may be insurance sector. The sector may be the different, but the levels of understanding should go through the same hierarchy: global level, global aspects, national aspects, regional aspects, and local aspects. Then you have some strong evidence. So what is happening to this particular area? And I skipped this slide, like why? Because once we discussed about the beginning part, then we can able to why we have to go for is. Suppose if you are very strong in the review of literature, then automatically these are the benefits for you. So clear understanding about the research problem and various dimensions, and will become an up-to-date reader. So you have to read, and there is no exemption for it, and you have to read several articles, hundred and of articles, global level, regional level, national level, so that you will have some clear understanding about, and to evaluate the earlier efforts. So what they have done, and what are their findings, methodologies that they have adopted, so that you can able to provide clear understandings about it. And then to identify the potential gaps for future research. In any of the research proposal, if you want to submit to the university, and there is one important element: need for the study or significance of the research. So that only happens when you complete evaluate the earlier efforts, and rationally of the proposed study also, then you can able to focus, and boundaries of the study also you can able to understand by only one aspect, that is how you can able to go with the review of literature. Then coming to this aspect, the beginning part. So first you have to identify the major that be covered in this area, and slow down the narrowing of the topics, and then concepts, relationships, and timelines. So timelines means like when this research have been started, or what at particular what period of time that is good. Let us say some topics may be for 5 years time, some topics maybe 10 years time, like that you have to identify. Then for all these things, you are able to identify the research gap. Research gap is nothing but the scope for future research. So what has been done already, and what you are supposed to do. If you identify the gap of this, then automatically it will be your research gap. Again, I'll iterate the beginning part. So those who are the serious researchers, where to start and all those things. So you have to go for the significance of the research. So why you are doing the research aspect, and then develop the research interest. That should be very, very important. Then understand the research area from the global level, national level, regional level, and local level. Then identify the significant research gap. Then coming to the next step, that is the process. So you have identified, okay, there is a lacuna in supply chain management practices in retailing. So in marketing, you have thought, okay, in marketing there are several substreams are there: consumer behavior, retailing, visual merchandising, etc., etc. And in retailing, you thought, okay, there is a very few research activity that was happened in the supply chain management and all. So you thought of doing supply chain management practices in retailing. So then you can able to understand. So is that clear or not? So how to do is like the method and process. So where to start, when to start, like that. We have a hub and spike method, but as there is no board facility, so you can able to imagine yourself as a wheel and maybe a motor wheel connected with a hub and then connected with spikes like that. Like a hub is a major research, and then spikes are the conclusive or subsequent researches which are originated from the major hub. Let us say the hub is the marketing research, and the spikes may be one of the spike may be the customer satisfaction, another spike may be the customer attitude, another spike may be the customer loyalty like that. So hub and spike helps you a lot, so to identify where you have drawn. So from marketing major hub, earlier people used to study the marketing practices. Now they are shifted to loyalty practices. Now they are saying it as service quality, but all are appears to be the marketing. So but one hub, and it gives birth to the another small hub, and again it gives birth to the another small hub. So likewise the hub and spike method, the research activity will continue. So how many hubs are there and how many spikes that have been erased, then where you are and what is your present area of interest. So that may be more and more important. So we will say that we'll take an example of quality of services in tourism sector. Quality of services in tourism sector, this may be a major hub. In tourism sector there are several aspects are there. Is it virtual tourism? Is it medical tourism? Or is it pilgrimage tourism? Or is it adventure tourism? But tourism sector is a main hub, and pilgrimage tourism is a spike and then gives again to the another hub. Suppose if you go for the pilgrimage tourism, and again the pilgrimage tourism acts as a main hub, and then from pilgrimage to different how the works have been conducted, it varies. Let us say you can say that the quality of services in hotels is one hub, quality of services in hospitals is another hub, quality of services in banking another hub, quality of services in tourism another hub, quality of services in education is another hub. Suppose if you take quality of services in education sector, there are several branches are there. Education means you have secondary education, you have primary education, and you have higher education, and you have engineering education, you have pharmaceutical education, you have medical education, and all. So each is one spike. Suppose if you are interested in service quality in engineering education, then you have drawn marketing is the major hub, and then service quality is the second hub, and then from service quality engineering education is the another hub, and from engineering you are going to different branches. So likewise how you can able to identify the different mechanisms. So you can have this aspect, hub and spike method. So it will provide you some clear understanding about where you are and where you are understanding the research topic in a full-fledged manner. This is one method which gives you some comprehensive consolidated view. The second one is inverted V. Inverted V like more general to specific. So PhD means you are not doing a great aspect, but you are understanding a particular aspect in the most detailed manner. So the book size appears very big, but you are studying a particular point, and ultimately you end up the research by establishing a relationship between the variables. So PhD means, or the research means, so what you can able to understand is like you are establishing some relationships and you are proving something. So to prove something, you should be very specific. So this specificity comes from the general. So that is what the inverted V. So narrow down your idea of research. The biggest part of the difficult part of the research is, suppose, what is your research? If you can tell in one line, the entire 300 pages or 250 pages of your thesis, somebody asked you, what is your research? Explain in one line. Then you can understand the importance of the specificity and all. So to come to that particular aspect, you have to use the inverted V or maybe the aspect. So you can able to have the more general topics to the specific aspect. Either hub and spike method you can able to use, or inverted V you can able to use, so that you can able to understand where exactly you are. So either to use the hub and spike or inverted V method, there are several techniques, are there tools and techniques how to collect the data and that. So most of the people download 101 articles and they put all the necessary or unnecessary articles, and they say that they complete the review of literature and objectives were framed. So that is not the correct part. So first you have to read the articles, then you have to synthesize, present in a table form, understand the whole articles. Then you have to identify the research gap. So research gap is like the scope for future research, what has been done and what is to be done. So for this, data requirement is very much needed. So we have primary data sources and secondary data sources that you are very much aware of that. So secondary data sources, published articles, news, magazines, bibliography, unpublished articles, and online databases. Most of you are very much familiar with the Google. So you type something in the Google, and then whatever appears in the Google, you can able to download and you will do it. Other than Google, there are several research databases are there from most of the premier institutes based on your discipline. Suppose if it is economics, you have CMIE, Center for Monitoring Indian Economy is there. You will get all the credentials or indices of the performance of the different sectors, different companies. So from that, you will get the secondary data. It's not just Google, and there are several research databases that are available, and the government is also providing InflibNet and also JSTOR, various research articles are there. And suppose if it is the research is completely new and you don't know where to start the research, then you have the exploratory aspect. Then you have to concentrate upon the primary data, that is interviews, observations, and focus group discussions. It depends upon the data requirements or the research triggers. So whether you need secondary data or whether you need the primary data. To begin with the research, I think most 60%, 60 to 65% of the secondary data is required, and 30 to 35% is the primary data is required to first figure out your research area. So that is what you can able to focus upon. Then there are 101 journals are there. Which journals you have to follow? Again, a big question is there. So I told you that whether the research topic is good or not. So that is also you have why you have only you have to take this topic only. So for these cases, already there are top proposed journals are there. Whether the world is considering this particular research topic or not, we have journal quality list is there. So JQL you can able to press. So journal quality list have the top rated journals in all disciplines, irrespective of the any discipline. You can say management, engineering, commerce, economics, medicine, etc. So journal quality list you can able to type it in the Google, and then you identify the top 5 or top 10 journals in that particular list. And then you thought, okay, you think just whether your research interest is matching with the top journals recent publication articles or not. So that way you can able to understand. So there is some research area and nobody is taken care of, that is well researched already. So now people are thinking about artificial intelligence. Let us say if it is computer science engineering, big data analytics, etc., etc. Earlier it is DBMS or maybe some other. I'm not a computer guy, but technocrat. But still, that is the area. So which is the booming technology? Then you go for the recent top-rated journals and identify what are their publications and all. And in India, if you consider, then we have a UGC care list and ABCD category journals are there, and Scopus Index journals are there. So you download the UGC care list, and on the top A journals, so your research interest is matching with the top journals researcher or seasoned researchers are not. So that's what is there. Then identify the top researchers or researchers in the proposed topic of area of research. Let us say if it is service quality, is really the uh, best research or the most preferred research in the present scenario, then you can able to check. And who are there or who are the best researchers in the area of service quality. Let us say if it is COVID-19, some medicine researchers would like to go for it. Like if you type now, most of the research is like to prime aim is to uh, fight against the COVID-19. So what are the strategies or something like that? Then automatically you can able to understand that COVID-19 is the most important aspect all over the world. So you can able to have your own idea of searching who are the top researchers and what are the top journals, and whether your research interest is matching with their research interest. So that's what I would like to say. Then to because it is easy to say but difficult to draw all these things. So what you can able to do is you have to prepare a table, or you have to prepare a diagram. My research area is this, and these are the top research journals, and these are the top researchers, and these are researchers published these many articles in. So then you can have some, it is aligning with your researches what have been done. So period of study means somebody have the idea why research takes more time. So somebody wants to complete their research in 1 year. If everything favors, somebody wants to complete in 2 years. Somebody wants to complete in 3 years. Somebody unable to complete their research, they vex up with the research. Somebody takes 5 years, 7 years. There is no clarity of what they are doing. If they have clarity, then automatically the research time will come down. Suppose if you know what you are doing, if you know what has been done already, and it is easy for you to focus about your future research. Suppose if you did nothing and you registered this year and then did nothing, and 1 year gone, next year your guide asks, so what you did in the last year? So you simply put a blank face, and again 1 more year completes. So it's not the process. So suppose if you practice the review of literature, if you download the articles, read the articles, if you identify the research topics, and if you identified the gap, at least 1 year, 1.5 years, you can able to prepare a solid, strong research proposal. I'm a little bit against to the some universities are also asking about at the admission time, a researcher need to submit the uh, research proposal. So it is very difficult for a young researcher or for a new researcher, for a passed out student to prepare a solid standard research proposal. But however, the intention of the UGC or the government is to test the flavor of or the interest of the candidate towards the research. So to prepare the standard research proposal, it takes at least 6 months to 1 year time by doing all these things. Otherwise, a research proposal is like a cut copy kind of thing. It won't convey anything to the present research field. So you have to do this process. So first hub and spike, what are the major research areas and what are the minor research areas, and what are the specific topics that have been done. So general to specific that you have to done, so that you will have some clear and complete idea about your research topic. Then because of the online and other things, so sources are very plenty research sources are available. So these are the sources, and after the PPT I may hand over this, I will share the PPT to the participants so that you can have a look about it. So this is what commerce and management. There are several journals are there, several databases are there, so you can able to get the published articles earlier on your research topics. And these are the annual reports. So CMI, suppose if you want to corporate information, 10,000 plus companies information, it is there. Suppose if you want to know the NAV, net asset value, performance, returns, ratios, portfolios, that is also available. If you want the balance sheet of a particular company, no need to ask anyone. If you have a registered database of CMI, then automatically by pressing some buttons, you can able to get the almost all the statistical data. So we have several statistical organizations also there, and secondary sources are there. So you have to identify the right secondary source so that you can able to what we can able to to build our your research interest. Then we have industry analysis, we have mergers and acquisitions. Anything what you can say, there are InfluidNet, what I told, ICMR research is there. Several research institutions, they have white papers, published articles, unpublished articles are also there, so that working papers are also there, so you can able to access them. Then the next part is where to close or when to close the review of literature. So reading continuously, so there should be some end for it. So closure is something like when you feel confident, okay, I have some knowledge, or I convinced about my research area, then that is the point where you can able to stop the review of research literature, and you can able to focus on the data collection and other aspects. Suppose you yourself is not convinced, and for the sake of doing the research, and you downloaded some articles and then consolidated and all, then automatically the research may not be fruitful, or the research may not attract the attention of the audience. So how to present means, whatever the paper that you have downloaded, research article that you have downloaded, secondary information that you have got, then you have to understand it. So it is very much difficult to read the whole article. Suppose if an article consists of 10 pages, 15 pages, so what we will do, we'll skip. So we will. So the best idea is like you read the abstract of the article. So that's why the abstract, most of the public journals are they ask about the abstract. Abstract synthesize the idea of that particular article in few lines. So if you feel that the abstract is related to your research interest, then you go to the methodology part, then you go to the findings and conclusion part. If you thought, okay, these three is also related, then automatically you have to read the article from the line 1 to the last line. Suppose you read the abstract and then you thought this article is not related, then you can able to, okay, this is not my research interest and all, you go to the second article kind of thing. It takes time, but still there is no exception for it. Suppose if you continuously reading all these aspects, then you can able to identify an exact clear research gap. Suppose we will think like construction of a house. So construction of a house, there are several steps are there. So no researcher will do the entire activity end to end. Suppose I started the foundation and I submit my PhD that I completed the foundation part. Then you are my next researcher. Then you have to, you read my thesis or my articles. Then you know, okay, he completed the foundation and I have to construct the flooring, or I have to construct the pillars. So that is the next activity where you can able to go for it. Suppose it is like how you construct a wall, like laying brick by brick. Suppose if somebody missed a brick, then automatically that will identify, okay, by looking at the wall, you will identify there is a brick that is missing. So I'll place that brick and then I'll complete the wall. So that's how you can able to identify your mark, your place, or your area of research in contrast to the other researchers. So it is like a particular single point that is adding to the whole theory. I think most of you might read the textbooks. So textbook is nothing but textbook is consist of several chapters, and each chapters you will be having several ideas and several paragraphs. And when you see the backside of the chapter, there are certain references. So for a chapter to contribute, there will be 100 and 150 researchers are there. There all these research findings consolidated, and it will evolve as a chapter. And 5-6 chapters, then it will allow as a subject, and 10-15 subjects, then it will become as a discipline. Let it be engineering or something like. Suppose if it is in engineering, you have semesters, and each semesters you have different subjects. For each subject you have different units, and for each unit you have several topics. From every topic there is a contribution from the research. So that's what I'm explaining in a broader perspective. So you are adding a 1 line or 2 lines to the body of knowledge. So you cannot write the whole textbook. Somebody is writing a textbook means he is synthesizing ideas of several researchers. He is synthesizing ideas of several researchers, and he is acknowledging the contributions of the several researchers in the way of references and all. And he is doing his job so that the textbook has been evolved. So textbook is easy for the students to read, but research article is difficult for a student to read. So somebody is translating or transforming the research ideas in a readable format. There you are getting the textbook. So I'm saying that at this junction, what is your place or your research interest in contrast to that? There are different ways. You can compare your research with others, or you can criticize the research. You can evaluate whether it is good or bad, or you can sum up, or you can able to synthesize. Let us say somebody has said service quality and profitability are related. Our service quality and profitability are positively related. Higher the service quality or higher the profitability. So you can compare. I did it in retailing sector. You can do it in pharmaceutical sector, or you can do it in engineering sector. So you are comparing service quality and profitability in a different sector. So that is what we call it as comparative analysis. So you can compare between the sectors, you can compare between the organization, or you can compare the variables from different aspects. Suppose if I say service quality and profitability are related, you are not agreed to that, then you can able to criticize. You can say that somebody X is told that service quality and profitability are related. I am not agree with that. You can able to say that. You can criticize the research, or you can evaluate to the research. I told service quality and profitability affects more. So you can able to, it's not service quality, it's something else. Our customer satisfaction or customer loyalty enhances the profitability. You can able to evaluate. There is something else uh, that better that improves the process or that improves the performance. Like for computer science engineering, if you see the developments of the technologies, so people will evaluate the earlier version of the technology and to the newer version of the technology. There you can able to understand the evaluation part. The old technology is little bit low performing than the emerged or the new technology. So suppose if you want to invent the further best technology, you should understand what are the existing technologies and what are their credentials and how they are developed. So summing up means, so you can also do a synthesis. Synthesis or summarizing things is also a difficult task. Suppose 10 researchers have been contributed on a particular aspect and nobody summarized it. Suppose I want to do, I want to invent a new drug, and there are 100 people who experimented several medicines, and then all are failed. And then you can able to summarize how the 100 scientists have been done their research, and then you can able to put it in a synthesis format, and it is easy for the new researcher to understand it and then able to present in a beautiful manner. So this is also a very important aspect. You can compare, critique, evaluate, sum up, synthesize, so that you can able to understand what you are and where you are in contrast to the other research. So include the grassroots of your research study. So this makes you a complete or to some extent a full-fledged researcher in your area chosen. So it is like speaking to your ancestors or earlier researchers, and they will provide confidence. So you can also prepare the diagram or table by whom, when, where, what, how the earlier researchers were studied the same topic. If not, then it is a scope for future research. Then you can able to get clues. So clues in the sense means, okay, this is the area they have studied and this is the area it was not studied. Let us say if it is taking example of service quality, in the 1980, it was first applied to the telecommunication sector, later applied to the banking sector. From 1980 to 1990. From 1990 to 2000, it was applied to different sectors like hotels, banking, insurance, etc., etc. Now, service quality is not applied to tourism sector in the year 2020. So you can able to take, okay, tourism sector was not, tourism services were not evaluated. So my research area is service quality in tourism sector. If somebody asks why you have taken this topic, then you have to explain the history of that. Okay, my service quality, how it was evolved, and what are sectors they have done, who did it, and why they did it, and what are the major findings, and all, etc., etc. You can able to go for it. Suppose if somebody asks, is it correct? Then you have to go for present in a systematic manner. That's what we have a APA guidelines, American Psychological Association guidelines. So you can able to publish a paper also on review of literature itself exclusively to validate your idea of doing research. Suppose I have an idea of doing research in a particular area, I don't know whether it is correct or not. Then automatically you have summarized several articles. The articles you have to logically present, understand, and summarize and publish in a paper. And if it is published, then your idea is correct. That means the whole world is accepted the idea. Then you can able to continue with that. So summarize scientifically. It is the knowledge where the other researchers in the other world understanding. We have Chicago guidelines, and most probably guidelines is the American Psychological Association guidelines. So how to go for it? Chronological method, or step-by-step advancements or developments, or issue or topic specific, or geographical boundaries. So how to summarize means chronological or step-by-step advancements. Suppose we can say that in the medicine field, earlier we used to use the penicillin as an antibiotic. but now penicillin, that first generation antibiotics, second generation of antibiotics, and third generation of antibiotics, and we are using fourth generation of antibiotics. So what are the first generation of antibiotics? Like, let us say, penicillin, ciprofloxacin, norflox. I'm not related to the medical field, but I'm explaining all those things. So in 1980s, what are the antibiotics that have been used? In 1990s, what are the antibiotics have been used? In 2000, what are the antibiotics have been used to treat various diseases? And in 2020, to face COVID-19, what are the antibiotics that are supposed to be used? So step by step provides you some understanding in the field of development of antibiotics and their limitations, so that you have a complete and comprehensive understanding in any particular area. Or you can able to categorize, or you can able to present issue or topic basis. Issue or topic basis means, suppose your research area is environment sustainability. So environment sustainability, who coined the name of environment sustainability, and then how environment sustainability has become an important research topic, and who are the researchers, what they contributed, in what countries they have been done research on environment sustainability, then you can able to go for this. Then geographical, also you can able to categorize. So some countries, they have done some research, and in India nobody performed the research. Then you can thought, okay, the same research was carried on in different countries, but in India it was not carried on. So automatically you can able to have an idea about, okay, taking up the research in India. Suppose in India somebody did, but in Andhra Pradesh no traces of or no evidence of the research, then you can able to topic, okay, I would like to do the research topic in Andhra Pradesh. So people will say that socio-economic status of handloom weavers in Andhra Pradesh district. They say, why Andhra Pradesh district only, if somebody asks. So you have to say that, okay, the research has been done in Maharashtra, the research has been done in Telangana, and very few research has been done in Andhra Pradesh. So I am taking in Andhra Pradesh. Otherwise, if you don't project, or you don't know, if you don't clarify in an appropriate manner, people will think that, okay, for the matter of convenience, the research proposal has been formed. It may be a country-wide research, or it may be a state-wide research, or it may be a particular case also. You can able to take a company as a case, and you can able to complete the research. Why you are taking a company, that you have to be justified. So are they appropriate? Who, when, where, what, and how they did the research? Then automatically a gap of research, and that will be become your research topic. I think you understand it. So I'll also demonstrate how my research I carried on, so that you can have a better understanding. So this is the aspect how literature review should not be. So a literature review should be a critical evaluation. Critical evaluation means you should evaluate the efforts of the earlier researchers, whether they are correct or not, or what is the criticism, and to what extent it is correct, and to what extent it is not correct. A summary of available research. So if you did the complete review of literature in the as per the norms or standards, then you have the whole topic to specific issues, and then you will be having the voice of the earlier researchers, and then you will have a comprehensive consolidate idea of your research, and then a clear document with all evidences. So whatever you speak, there should be some proof. Whatever you publish, there should be some clear evidences. So automatically it will attract the attention of the current, or it will also provide the directions for the future researchers. And avoid verbosity. Verbosity means saying the same thing repeatedly many number of times, or what would duplication that may not serve good. Suppose you're doing the same thing in the introduction part, or you're also doing the same thing in the need for the study and all those things, your research proposal or research may not be up to the standards. So this is the second slide. And again, if you did the review of literature in this manner, then automatically you will have clear understanding about the research problem. Now somebody asks, what is the research problem? Then to some extent you can able to answer. And what are the dimensions, if somebody asked, then you can able to answer. So to answer all these things, there is no shortcut for you. You have to read articles. I told you that read the abstract. If you see that the abstract is familiar, matches to your research interest, then read the methodology and conclusion. If it is also matches with your research interest, then read the full article. Then automatically he is your ancestor in your research area. Then what he did and what you are going to do. Then to evaluate the earlier efforts to identify the potential gaps for future research, rationally of the proposed study and limitations of the study. So this is how the uh, review of literature need to be done. So once you did it, so all questions will be answered in your research methodology. So how much is my sample size? The earlier articles will answer you. What kind of methodology I should adopt? The earlier answers will. What kind of research design I should go? The earlier articles will answer you. What kind of statistical techniques adapted? So you have earlier researchers, how they adapted. You'll having some clear idea. So you will be less dependent on your guide and you will be independent. So why I'm saying all these things, once you complete your PhD and maybe after 1 year or 2 years, you will be guiding your own students. So at that time, it becomes tough for you. So if you have some idea, if you have some idea, some area of interest, then automatically that interest, that area will guide your scholars and future generations. So this aspect, just a minute. I have how I did. I have some review of literature papers. So these are the review of literature papers where I downloaded while doing my research. So you can see this is the 71. Just a minute. Is it clear now? Hello? Is it clear? See, this is how the review of literature has been done. So there are several articles have been downloaded. So these are the articles. Each of the articles I read, and then I thought, okay, if it is familiar and related, then I have included in my aspect. Likewise, you can able to understand this also.